The Marine Expeditionary Unit must be ready to take on any enemy, anywhere, at any time. Fast strike aerial attack can be a mission-critical capability. That's where the AH-1 Whiskey Super Cobra comes in.
As an attack helicopter, I'm expected to get in there. I'm expected to be down low and kind of get into a knife fight.
Captain Ryan Wellborn flies one of the 11th MEU's 4 Super Cobras. This bird is the backbone of the Marine Corps attack helicopter fleet.
To put it bluntly, our mission is to kill. It's not to deliver supplies, it's not to deliver people. It's to deliver ordnance in support of the Marine on the ground.
The Cobra has a 2-bladed 43-foot diameter main rotor. It's powered by 2 Pratt & Whitney PT6 turbine engines. Max speed is 190 knots with a range of 365 miles.
There's just nothing like being able to fly low, fly fast, see the faces of the people that you're supporting.
Nicknamed the Snake, this chopper is all about firepower. The main gun is a 3-barrel 20mm machine cannon.
It has a semi-active armor-piercing rounds.
And that's just the beginning. This Cobra packs 2 air-to-air sidewinders, a 7-pod anti-personnel rocket launcher, and 8 Hellfire missiles.
This is the actual missile fire button for our Hellfire missile.
The biggest bang comes from the 8 air-to-ground tow missiles. A single tow can penetrate 30 inches of steel plate. When it comes to taking on enemy armor, this bird is a game changer.
The Cobra is extremely well designed to fight armor, and particularly with the advance to wire-guided and then laser-guided anti-tank missiles, it becomes an enormously effective anti-tank weapon.
The Cobra can deliver a world of hurt to the enemy's doorstep. When the MEU needs to deliver a heavy load of troops and equipment, they turn to a different helicopter, the CH-53. The Sikorsky CH-53 Echo Super Stallion is the biggest helicopter in the U.S. military. There are 4 of these heavy lifters in the 11th MEU's fleet.
It's the most powerful, mission-capable, largest helicopter in the free world.
This beast is nearly 100 feet long. The 7-bladed main rotor is 79 feet wide. The Super Stallion's unique tail rotor is canted 20 degrees downward. This allows it to produce lift in addition to controlling the aircraft's rotation. The chopper's 3 T-64 turbine engines put out more than 13,000 combined shaft horsepower. This monster can lift 16 tons of cargo. That's more than enough capacity to carry an armored Humvee.
The 53 is an absolutely vital aircraft for the MEU. There are things the MEU has to carry with them through the air that are very heavy. The 53E is designed to do that for them.
For putting boots on the ground, the Super Stallion can fly 55 geared-up Marines into a combat zone. When the mission requires extended range, the 53's refueling probe lets the pilots pull in behind a KC-130 for an in-flight fill-up. When it's time to pack this big bird into a small space, the crew folds up the tail and main rotor, substantially reducing its footprint.
We pack it up and we put 4 of them in a space that these other helicopters have to fit 1 or 2.
The Marines have been operating Super Stallion since 1981. Time and time again, this supersized helo proves it has what it takes to get the job done. January 1990. The Somali capital of Mogadishu falls into chaos as warring factions fight for control of the city. Americans living in Mogadishu seek shelter in the U.S. Embassy compound. As an armed mob threatens to overrun the embassy, the Marines are called in to evacuate the Americans.
Well, the danger was that they would overrun and either take hostages or simply murder the members of the embassy. We did not have enough of a security force at the embassy to protect them from the numbers of people who were trying to come over the wall. Remember, there's a total breakdown of civil order.
the Marines are afloat in the Indian Ocean, more than 500 miles from the embattled embassy when they get the order to go. 2 CH-53E Super Stallions immediately launch and head for Mogadishu. The helicopters undergo 2 aerial refueling operations during the 3-hour flight. Within an hour after landing at the embassy compound, the 53s take off with the first group of evacuees. By the time the crisis is over, 281 civilians are successfully evacuated.
The truth of the matter was the CH-53 was the only aircraft for that mission. And the reasons are multiple. Good range, excellent speed, oh, by the way, an in-flight refueling capability.
Aircraft like the CH-53 play a crucial role in almost every mission the MEU undertakes. Keeping these birds in flying and fighting condition is the job of the 11th MEU's aircraft maintenance crews. Each aircraft has its own 15 to 20-man crew of airframe, engine, and avionics technicians. These guys work in shifts around the clock to keep up with repairs and maintenance.
They are constantly battling the effects of what the salt water and the sea air will do to our aircraft. They constantly clean and bust and rust and on top of the normal maintenance that they have to perform to the aircraft.
I kind of treat it like it's my own helicopter. Taking care of it, fixing it up, like it's my car.
Lance Corporals Joe Hale and Brett Jarrell are mechanics for CH-53 number 25.
More work than I ever thought it would be when I came into the Marine Corps.
Every time this helicopter flies, one of these guys is on board to monitor systems and keep things running smoothly.
All this stuff is exposed because the mechanics and the crew chiefs in the back need to have immediate access to the fuses, to the fuel lines, to the hydraulic lines, to the avionics equipment, to the flight control rods, to everything.
Some emergency repairs can't wait till the helicopter's back on the ground.
Repairs in flight is rare. Normally they would touch down on the deck unless it's an emergency situation. Then you get back here and you rig something up and we get done what we have to get done.
Hey, go, hurry up. Hey, 3LZ, push the front.
August 13th, 2009. 22 Marines assemble on the loading ramp of the USS Bonhomme Richard. They are charged with a fast response training mission, rescuing a downed pilot inside enemy territory.
Not likely there's a lot of people there just wandering around, all right? If they're there, it's going to be very suspicious.
It can be a very complex mission. It can be a very exciting mission.
Treat anyone approaching the area as a threat.
The rescue team goes over mission-critical information, like the pilot's estimated coordinates and identifying information.
He's 72 inches tall, he has brown hair, brown eyes. His authentication number is 1972.
That tactical recovery mission is something that you're in a race against the clock, you're in a race against a potential adversary.
2 Harrier jets get a head start on the rescue operation. They'll be over the crash site in a matter of minutes, flying protection in case enemy forces try to move in on the stranded pilot.
We can provide the ability to cover long or large distances quickly with the aircraft. Helicopters are capable, but we obviously move a lot faster than they do.
The Harrier AV-8B is a short takeoff, vertical landing attack aircraft. A Marine Expeditionary Unit, or MEU, operates 6.
It's a great aircraft to fly. It's really powerful, especially low, close to the deck.
Marine Corps Captain Trevor Sutton knows the Harrier inside and out.
So in the hover, these open up and allow more airflow to come into the engine when the jet's not moving forward.
The Harrier is powered by a single Rolls-Royce Pegasus 2 turbofan engine that produces more than 20,000 pounds of thrust. In hover mode, the thrust is directed downward by rotating the jet exhaust nozzles down about 80 degrees.
Downward to directly pointed at the ground, perpendicular with the aircraft for the hover stop position. I remember the first time I hovered the jet in the training squadron, and it's like, you know, a jet it shouldn't be doing this. It's not meant to do this, but it does, and it does it well.
Harriers typically head out with a full load of weapons and fuel, making the aircraft too heavy for vertical launch. That's when pilots employ the Harrier's short takeoff capability. By rolling down the runway with the thrust nozzles aimed slightly downward, the jet produces enough lift to launch off the ship's 840-foot flight deck.
We do a short takeoff off the ship, and then after we dropped our bombs, burn some fuel, we come back and we can land vertically on the boat.
The Harrier has a top speed of Mach 0.91 and an impressive 13,000 feet per minute rate of climb. With external fuel tanks, she has a max range of nearly 3,000 miles.
In the air, it flies like any other aircraft. You wouldn't know the difference.
This aircraft can also bring an awesome array of firepower to the fight.
This is the Lightning II targeting pod, which the Harriers carry.
The Lightning II uses infrared, CCD, and laser targeting technology to identify and track targets. This allows precision munitions delivery in nighttime and bad weather conditions. The Harrier carries a variety of bombs and missiles, including the air-to-air AIM-9 Sidewinder and the AGM Maverick anti-tank missile. A 4,000 round per minute 25mm rotary cannon is mounted under the fuselage.
We're pilots who provide that close air support to Marines on the ground. If Marines are in trouble, they can know that you know, we're going to be there for them.
January 1991. The Harrier AV-8B proves its effectiveness during Operation Desert Storm. The jet's short takeoff capability enables 66 Harriers to operate from expeditionary air bases set up close to the action. A dozen Harriers operate from a tiny Saudi helicopter field only 40 miles from the Kuwait border.
By being able to base the Harriers forward, that meant that you didn't have to spend an hour going there and coming back. You could generate 5, 6, 7, 8 sorties a day if you needed to.
Marine Corps Harriers fly 3,380 combat sorties during the war. They pound Iraqi tanks and artillery as coalition ground troops advance through the desert.
It was very effective in the war and has just gotten more effective over time as we've gotten broader application of precision weapons.
Back on board the Bonhomme Richard, the pilot recovery training mission is on. 2 Harriers are already over the crash site. They'll provide air protection for the downed pilot until the rescue team gets him out of the danger zone.
The value of all this training just kind of gets us ramped up to go to war. So these workups allow us to ramp up, work as a team, and prove that we can do those missions before we actually have to.
The rescue team is set to go. At 7 minutes to launch time, they board the helicopters.
Adrenaline rush, complete adrenaline rush. About to get on a helo, fly over the ocean, do some high-speed stuff.